I'm going to hit record. If you do not want to be identified, then change your name, get rid of your picture or something. But I really like to share this with folks online and all these Facebook groups in Virginia and stuff like that. I think putting it on Facebook and YouTube will get people more exposure to this presentation and everybody's participation. All right, great. We're up to 19. Okay. So I won't waste time because I don't know how long this is going to take because I haven't done it before, but I'll assume it's going to take an hour. Although there are multiple phases that I expect tonight. I expect to keep the Zoom going past 7 for Q&A and things like that. So thank you everybody for joining. This is we'll call it Blue Victory 2021, Keep Virginia Blue Grassroots Kickoff. It's just something, an event I created based on some of the other events I've been hosting and groups I've been affiliated with over the last several years. And so this is a grassroots effort. Some of the big themes today is that we're, I don't know if we're technically 30 days to early vote, but this is the 17th, and that means we're about a month away from September 17th when voting begins in Virginia. This is also a DNC week of action. Unfortunately, because of what happened with the recall in California, I think the week of action is mostly focused on California and not Virginia. But nonetheless, it is a DNC week of action, and we will have a presenter who is running community organizing trainings and efforts at the DNC. And there's 2 short links that you might want to have handy. Oh, and this is the one trick with these kind of events, is dropping information in the chat. So let me drop a couple key links in the chat right now. These are the slides and the update that I post on our Basecamp community. Both are public links that you can browse through and click on information that's posted in there. So let's go through the slides. Yeah, and feel free to introduce yourself if you haven't yet, and we'll stop and give people more of an opportunity to do that again in a minute. So this is the basic agenda. I'm gonna kind of introduce everybody to everything, and I'll give a little bit of an overview, and then I'm going to get into a little bit of this grassroots, this Blue Victory update, kind of Keep Virginia Blue version that I'm going to create here, or I did create. And then we're going to talk about national updates, national organizations that are involved in Virginia, and then any statewide updates people have, about the statewide candidates or anything. And then regional updates. We have the Loudon Dems represented here, and DC Blue Wave, which is, I guess, affiliate or partner with the DC Dems. And we'll be talking, they have a very good presentation to explain why, especially out-of-state volunteers, but really any volunteer would want to get involved in the down ballot races, the delegate races. So we'll take a look at that. If anybody has any constituency groups they're affiliated with, feel free to chime in after that. And then I will do a swing around different campaign focus areas like media and messaging, organizing, tools and other activities that people might want to share. Grassroots updates, any grassroots groups that want to, introduce themselves. Action updates, just any volunteer action that people want to talk about that hasn't been covered yet. We can try to do breakout rooms. It might not happen this meeting because we're trying to cover a lot of ground. But at 7, I've set it up that at 7 p.m. It's a separate event. It's basically just a Q&A hour. It's the same Zoom link, so you can just stay here at 7 p.m. And I'm calling it Keep Virginia Blue Power Hour. So it's just an hour of conversation and question and answers about what's going on, and maybe some help onboarding people if they want to try to join something and they have questions. I'd love to hear if you join an activity or start working on something. I'd love to hear how it's going during that hour. Like, hey, I did this and it went great. So volunteers have kind of personal endorsements on how it's going, or some insight on what people are doing and how, what it's about. So feel free to do that if you'd like. And then at 8 o'clock, I do these Keep Virginia Blue. Well, I do these Blue Victory War Room events once a week. They're kind of general, but a lot of the big topic is generally Virginia. But I created a Keep Virginia Blue War Room event for Mondays and Tuesdays. Mondays is a more in-depth look at some of the updates that I'm going to share right now. Tuesday, I'm just calling it Tactical Tuesdays because all I want to hear is any tips that people have, or it could be actions people can take and stuff, but I'd love to have an hour where once a week we talk about what tactics people are doing and how they're going. Like, don't just tell me you went to Canvas. Tell me, oh, I went to Canvas with a group and we all got lunch afterward and everybody had a great time. So I recommend you do the same thing. Or this one campaign is having a really fun fundraiser. It's like they're doing cocktails or whatever. So if there's something that could somewhat be educational. So that's the format. It's could be a marathon, but I want to try to cover a lot of ground. Well, I think that, well, first of all, I don't want to do this on multiple days. I don't want to do this like 3 days a week. I want to just knock it out one day, or over Monday. Monday, I'm going to be doing stuff too. But on Tuesdays, I'm going to try to knock out a lot of stuff relating to Virginia. And it's early in the week. And so anything you learn today, hopefully you can use by the weekend when you might be canvassing or getting involved in some other campaign activities. So I'm going to try to, I think there's a need for multiple updates and ways to talk about the election. And so I'm going to try to give that opportunity to have enough time for people to talk about things that they're interested in and things like that. The tips for this Zoom room is like I said, the presentation and other links will be shared and will be available via the chat. So if you have any questions about anything, you'll be able to keep this information. Recording, we'll be able to save the chat that way. Again, introduce yourself in the chat. We'll do that again in a minute. We'll do another round of introductions. Feel free to change your name. If you want to put in like what town you're in, like you're in Fairfax or county or whatever. If you want to be private, take away take out your last name, things like that. Please feel free to chime in and comment on what I'm saying as I'm saying it and what other people are saying as they say it. So we can get as many voices heard as possible. Hi, Mary. There's only so much room for people to talk via the audio. So, feel free to chime in on the chat and then raise your hand if you have something very important to say, or later on when it'll be more casual, I'll be able to call on more people. Try to stay muted if possible when you're not talking. I think it's important to talk about values. Barack Obama was good at this, and Joe and some other campaigns in 2020 definitely had their values that they would talk about with volunteers. So that's a link to Joe's campaign code from the election, and it covers a lot of ground. There's 11 items. Respect. Obama was respect, empower, include, organize, win. So that is still in my mind, but Joe's involves respect and inclusion, and then empathy, and resiliency, and no malarkey, etc. Just so people know who I am, so you know that I'm not just coming out of this out of nowhere. I helped start the Obama campaign in Virginia in 2007. Was the first volunteer coordinator for Virginia for Obama, and then over the years, I built up a Generation Obama Young Professionals chapter, and then that became Network for Progress, which was another young professionals group, which was basically the same thing, except we had our own name. And basically I've kept that name, that community engaged since, with some ups and downs. As part of this effort, this community, I created these Blue Victory events in 2020 for Zoom, as a way to keep people engaged. But I also was a 2020 Victory community leader for the DNC and Biden. Founded DC, Maryland, Virginia for Joe Facebook group, and Northern Virginia for Biden page. And what else? But yeah, so I've done some regional organizing for Joe online. I also have been involved in the Yang Gang, and I've kind of learned a lot from them as well. Most recently, over the last 4 years, I've been kind of involved in the DC, Maryland, Virginia Grassroots Coordinating Committee, which was founded out of the Women's Democratic Club in Washington, DC in 2017. And so I keep people in that community updated as well. And so some of those folks might be on this Zoom. But overall, I have about 3 decades in communications and political work and organizing. So those are some of my highlights. I kind of consider myself an Obama Biden Democrat. Sometimes I think of myself as a democracy-crat. I'm a really big believer in building coalitions to broaden the Democrats' support nationwide, and in this case, statewide. So hence, that's kind of how we got to this event. And feel free to chime in with your name, affiliation, if you just joined, in the chat, your location, your pronouns, anything you'd like. As we go along, feel free to add your any links. If you introduce us to something, feel free to share a link about it, or like follow you on Twitter, anything you'd like, any link you want to share about what you're doing. So we'll start out with national updates. I'm not sure if Jabri Harris from the DNC has joined yet. So I guess we'll start with Jennifer Hutz from Swing Left. And Jennifer, I can make you a co-host so you can, if you have some slides.
Oh yes, thank you.
I'm not used to collaborating as much.
No problem. Awesome. Well, so thank you so much. Thanks for hosting this. It's always great to get lots of people together that are all working for the same goal so we can be coordinated. And that is basically what Swing Left tries to do. We try to really make sure we use everybody's time and energy towards the best thing. So let me just share my, okay, so I think you need to, I'm going to continue, share my screen. Oh, hold on. Can you stop sharing your screen? I think that'll make mine.
Oh, okay, okay. Sure.
Thank you. Okay. Sorry, there we go. Okay, and share. Start at the beginning. Present. So, first of all, I'm Jennifer Hutz. I live in Brooklyn, but I am the regional organization coordinator for Swing Left of the Southeast. So I cover everywhere from Maryland down to Florida and over to Tennessee and Louisiana. In 2020, I was in charge of North Carolina because that is where I am from. And my heart is there, even though I live in Brooklyn, New York. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Swing Left, I'm just going to do a quick overview so that you know where we're coming from. But Swing Left is a 365-day-a-year grassroots electoral organization. We work to provide volunteers with the best tools and actions on the elections that matter most that will determine power. So of course, we are very invested in Virginia this year. And part of our things, why this works, we all know elections are a year-round work and we need to show up all the time. We need to elect more Democrats across the board so that we can strengthen our democracy. And we're not a policy group, and we know winning isn't everything, but it is a start. So that is just Swing Left. And then here's just a little bit of what we've done. We started in 2017, and since then, we have raised a lot of money for eventual candidates. We also don't get involved in primaries. So once a candidate is decided by their own community, we give them funds. We also just target very specific races that are either need to be defended or flipped. And I'll show you the Virginia ones that we have. But we also team up with Vote Forward, which is a letter writing group that I hope many of you are familiar with. They have proven stats because they hold back control groups. So we know the effectiveness of these letters. And next to canvassing, we think it is the best way for people to use their time. So it's a great action for people to use that aren't necessarily comfortable canvassing. We make lots of phone calls, and you know, we didn't canvass unfortunately in 2020, but before that we had knocked lots of doors. And I just got back on the canvassing bandwagon this weekend in Virginia Beach, which was wonderful. So we all know this. And Swing Left has a 10-year strategy to defeat the Republicans up and down the ballot. And here is just a little bit about our strategy. This year, we are protecting the trifecta in Virginia. In 2022, we're going to hold the House and the Senate and hopefully expand. And then in 2022, we are going to build power in the states and really focus on helping grow in each state. We all know 2022 cannot be another 2010. And here is basically what we're going to be doing in 2022. These are the target races. Obviously,
I'm trying to understand why marketplace is still not working.
Was that a question? Sorry. And then here is our winning starts in Virginia. These are our candidates that Swing Left is sponsoring. And if you don't recognize their face to their names, I have this slide. So these are the ones that Swing Left feels are the candidates that need the most support from us. And so we have groups from all over the country that are joining, whether it's fundraising or phone banking or planning trips into Virginia to help canvass. We work directly with these campaigns. So if anybody has a group that wants to be in direct contact with the campaigns, we can often facilitate that. And it's been really awesome. And then here are some upcoming Virginia actions with Swing Left that haven't really been announced anywhere. They're announcing them on Thursday. They have a grassroots leader call. We have a World Letter Writing Day event on September 1st. September 16th, we're doing a national phone bank into Virginia. September 25th and 26th, we're going to canvass Weekend of Action. And then I'll put these links in the chat, but for those of you who aren't part of Swing Left's emails, you can sign up and get on our email list. There are groups all over Virginia, DC, Baltimore, Maryland. So if you want to find it, there's a group you can join. Yeah, you can do that. Or if you have a group and you want to register with Swing Left and take advantage of our resources, we have staff, we have tech, we have lots of support. So it's definitely a great thing to join, and we don't dictate anything. You can still do your group however you want, but we will just help you in the races and the actions that we work on. So there's my name and my email. Again, I'll put that in the chat. And if you guys have any questions, please email me, and I will stop sharing now. And you guys can let me know if you have any questions for me. I know we have a lot to go over, so.
Yeah, raise your hand if you have a question about what Swing Left is doing. Although, how many people are aware of Swing Left? Feel free to mention in the chat. Or are you affiliated with the Swing Left? Are you in a Swing Left chapter?
Nice, Heidi. Barbara, awesome. Yeah, it's a really great support organization. And again, we don't dictate anything about your group. We just give you support for what you need. So please, if you have a group and you're not part of Swing Left, please register. Will be invited to our grassroots meetings that give you skills and best practices on how to grow your group and how to be the most effective. So thank you so much for all that you guys are doing. And yeah, I'll put the links in the chat, and I'll let you guys go from here. Thank you.
All right. Well, it'd be great to have your feedback on anything we're doing as we go forward. Really, this event today is kind of a Swing Left inspired event, because Swing Left does have a Virginia committee, a Virginia action group or whatever, and we've been talking on a few Zooms recently, and I really think what do you just need, like Swing Left's website? I actually, Jennifer, if you want to put I don't know if you have a link to the slides, or if you want to put any links about, I know there's like different links that are helpful. But yeah, so I definitely want to these events to kind of connect with Swing Left, because I think it's really kind of a great resource for us. So maybe we'll have an official connection in the near future, but this is kind of a new event. So, oh yeah, that's a good link. All right, great. So I just I don't know if Jabri Harris from DNC got sorry, I turned off my video. Oh, I got a couple hands, but anyway, I'm not sure his status, but I do have something I'd like to show before we get to the next thing. Something weird happened. Oh, okay. I accidentally hit something on my phone.
Jim, all I was going to ask.
Oh, Joe with Swing Left has his hand up. Okay.
Yeah, all I was going to ask is the link you provided. These are going to be the slides that will be available after tonight, because it goes to a tiny URL, just blank page. Is that what the link is? The one that you posted earlier.
Hold on, let me see what you're talking. Let's see what. I'll test it. Hold on a second.
Thanks.
I posted the slides, and I posted an update that goes to a Basecamp link. Could you
can you maybe just repost them, and maybe I just didn't that they didn't copyright or something?
All right. This
Thanks.
is, I'll go over this in a second. This one. It's a list of resources. And then these are the slides, just if people want them. I think those links work. If there's a link that doesn't work, please put it in the chat so I know what it looks like. Mike, you have a question?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
What I got for myself. Yeah, I got a question to I think her name is Michelle or something.
Huh?
I'm getting the email from what you guys are doing. I'm doing stuff in my office. I want to ask you the question who, I mean, well, this sort of, but
Mike, can you answer the question in the chat? Because I really got to get the program going. I think we might have to do more questions at the end. Okay.
you guys go ahead.
Okay. All right. Let me just give people a preview of what these links are about. This is the update that I put. Oh, okay. I don't know what went wrong. Well, I think when I first posted those links, I just posted them in a blob, and then I reformatted that. I put them in separately just now. So I think they were stuck together. They needed a space between them or something. So what does the update look like? So this is something I've been doing for my Blue Victory War Room meetings over the last year. Maybe I haven't done this for the last year, but I've been doing this kind of stuff. Using Basecamp, which is kind of like Slack, except it has some extra options in terms of it has a calendar, it has to-do lists, it has it's a little more user-friendly in my mind. And we're using it with the DMV Grassroots Coordinating Committee, and I think we kind of liked it. So anyway, I've continued the subscription. And so this is what kind of the quick and dirty update that I put together for Virginia, which is based on the format of what I've been doing for more national, like Biden, DNC, White House type information over the last several months. So if you have this link, you have access to the short links, the update for today, and the slides. If you would like to join our team in some way, you want to help out with a volunteer activity that could relate to putting on these meetings, or some other action that has to do with Virginia, that and you want to be, work with us on it, feel free to join that sign up. If you want to join our Basecamp, where you can be in this community and comment and add your own resources and things, there's a short link to that as well. There is also a public link to my other workspace that's just generic Blue Victory War Room, and there's an about page which talks about that, and those are some of the links that have to do with like joining the Basecamp for that, and Facebook and Twitter, and my email. So the calendar generally is going to look like this. So I'm going to do more national briefings where I'm going to talk about Virginia and try to get people from outside of Virginia interested in Virginia as part of that. I'm going to be doing that on Mondays. And then at 6, and then at 7, kind of more of an open Q&A about how to get involved. And sometimes, yesterday people want to talk about Afghanistan, so we did that. Then at 8 o'clock, I'll be spending a lot of time on the update that you're looking at right here. We'll have time to go over what these resources are more in depth. And on Tuesdays, we'll do this meeting, and it'll be a lot of speakers and things like that, special guests, kind of a roundup of everything around the state. And then a power hour, kind of Q&A at 7. Then at the end of the night, maybe even campaign folks would want to join and just have a kind of a brainstorm, or of sharing on ideas on how we can do better with our organizing and campaign work. That'll be at 8. So that I'm going to try to develop as we go forward. Then I think what's on the horizon is we're 30 days to early vote. So I'm looking at the week of the 13th through the 17th after Labor Day and everything, kind of trying to shoot for maybe some in-person events, or encouraging other people to have events as part of an early vote kickoff week. So just keep that on the radar, and we'll try to build towards something for that. I've created a Facebook event for the 17th through the election day called "What Are We Going to Do? Keep Virginia Blue." So feel free to join that and share it with your friends. I think it could be something that is useful for getting Democrats engaged and getting them some information about how to get involved. I've got a big long list of featured events. As we go through the agenda, I'll probably swing back to this quite a bit. But as you can see, there's fundraisers, there's DNC community organizing trainings tonight starting at 7. So if you are interested in helping my delegate, Carrie Delaney, and Jennifer Kitchen, who's in a pretty competitive district outside of Charlottesville, you want to help them with their fundraiser with Sam Rasool, the former candidate for lieutenant governor. That event is at 7, and at 7:30, the DNC is having one of their community organizing trainings. And then tomorrow at noon, Network Nova is hosting kind of like a power hour of a different kind, an hour of Facebook and Twitter storming for candidate Deborah Gardner. So I wanted to make sure I highlighted that, because that's coming up right tomorrow at noon. I also highlighted here some DNC trainings for their phone banks, and unfortunately they're focused on the California recall this week, so you might not want a phone bank for them unless you can for the next couple of weeks, switch gears, but just so you know that's what they're focusing on. Also on Wednesday, there's in Elaine Luria's district, there's a volunteer team meeting that I don't know who's hosting it. I think it's We Have Action, but I was surprised because I thought they were based in Northern Virginia. But anyway, so those are a couple things that are immediate. There are also different chapters of Sister District. We actually have a Sister District person on our Zoom, and we could have her talk more about it in a little bit. But there's also Sister District chapters helping candidates in other parts of the country that you might be interested in. On Thursday, there's a Team Helmer organizing meeting. I think that's a physical meeting. That's near where I live. And every Friday, there's Network Nova power lunches where they talk to candidates and Virginia leaders around the state on Zoom. On Friday, there is also a fundraiser for Caitlin Coakley, who's running for delegate with Jennifer McClellan, the former gubernatorial candidate. And then this weekend, there's going to be some canvases with the grassroots groups. League of Women Voters is registering voters in Northern Virginia. Jaywalkers is a Maryland-based group that is doing phone banks. And Sunday, there's a fundraiser for Delegate Wendy Gooditis and candidate Irene Shin. And then there's some other stuff coming up in September. Other than that, I'll maybe come back to some of this stuff. I have some featured actions, some videos from recent events. Terry McAuliffe uploaded 4 videos, like TV ad type videos today. Some of this is from the Virginia Women's Summit, the Joe Biden rally with Terry McAuliffe. There was the chair of the Democratic Party did a 1 month until early voting in Virginia statement today. And so I have links to the news section of their website and the DNC's website. They had some updates that might be of interest. Like their DNC announced a $5 million investment in Virginia. There's some articles about Glenn Youngkin, the Republican nominee for governor, that are good to know about. Recent poll shows this race is very close for governor, that Terry McAuliffe is only up 2 points, according to a recent poll. I don't know much about the firm, but it's kind of important. I mean, I think it's probably in the range of being correct, because I've seen other polls that are similar. And then here I have some links to more campaign resources. VirginiaGrassroots.org has a lot of great candidate information. And then I have a page of resources for trainings, like videos of trainings and things from the DNC, Swing Left, Citrus District, and Arena. And then if you don't know the social media of some of the candidates and the party, I got their websites and their Facebook and Twitter here. And of course, voting resources are important. So I put iwillvote.com. And so we can build on this and expand and add elements to it. And I'll just figure out how to organize it so it doesn't look too crowded. But this is what the update looks like for today. Hopefully it's a good overview. And then, but I'll jump into the slides again, and we can go down the list of the, trying to find the slides for today. Oh, okay. So go back to the slides and let people chime in if they have their own updates they want to share. I don't think Jabri has arrived, so I guess we'll just have to start over. I mean, go to the next. Does anybody have any updates about the statewide campaigns or what's going on with the party? I heard that some folks with the coordinated campaign were were planning to join us, but I'm not sure if they'll be able to join us this week. It might be next week. But does anybody have anything else about what's going on statewide they want to share? All right, we'll think about that while we go into the regional stuff. So I want to introduce Lissa Savaglio, who is the chair of the Loudon Democrats, and it sounds like they're doing a lot of good stuff. Lissa, are you ready to?
I am.
Okay, great.
So good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us this evening. My name is Lissa Savaglio. I'm the chair of the Loudon County Dems. I'm also the vice chair of the Northern Virginia region for the Democratic Chairs Association and the district outreach coordinator for the congressional 10th district. I'm apologizing for my camera. My computer has got its camera on the bottom. I did have another camera on top, and every time I turned it on, Zoom froze. So you're just gonna have to deal with hopefully not looking up my nose. So apologize in advance for that. So I'm gonna sort of provide a little bit of an update as to what's going on here in Northern Virginia. The coordinated campaign will be hopefully getting an office in Sterling by the end of this month. They're going to be doing weekend canvases and then Tuesdays and Thursday phone banks. So we're really excited to get that. And we're still waiting on signs, but they are working on them. So we will be getting coordinated signs from the state. And Loudoun County specifically, one of the things that we have been really, really trying to do is just get information out. Let everybody know that, yes, there is an election this year. I know you feel like you just did it, but it's every year in Virginia. As everybody knows, in Virginia, the state did pass Sunday voting, and it's for each county's registrar to decide whether or not they want to partake in Sunday voting. And in Loudoun County, our registrar decided yes. So we will be having our first ever Sunday voting in Loudoun County on October 24th from 12 to 5. So we're very, very excited about that and getting the word out with that. And we're also going back to drop boxes, where we are getting a permanent Dropbox location at our Leesburg registrar's office. It will be complete with a light and a camera and open 24 hours a day. So that's a huge, huge thing. And like I said, getting all of this information out to people. What we have found works is we use postcards with just the highlighted dates of, when's the last day to register to vote? When does early voting start? When is the day of? That sort of stuff. And then we pick a universe as to the different areas that we really want to focus on. We are focusing on Wendy Goditis's campaign for House of Delegates and Paul Seiker's campaign for House of Delegates, because he's going up against Dave LaRock. So we're going to put a primary focus on those areas. Of course, we'll hit other areas as well, but those are our big primary focuses. And we also do back to school nights, where we have lit printed that has the school calendar on the back, and we hand those out at back to school nights. So it really is just getting the information out, doing texting, doing postcards, also doing social media. Starting next week, we're going to start focusing on a candidate of the week via social media, where we'll start with an introduction to the candidate, the things that they're standing for, or if they are already elected, the things that they've been able to pass. Then we might go a little bit on their opponent's voting record, and then end on the positive note as to why you should, really go out and help this candidate. I don't have any pretty slides, and that's kind of all I got. Does anybody have any questions?
You got a postcard fund. I'm sure a lot of people will be excited to donate to that.
Yes, we do have a postcard fund. We're collecting money specifically for the stamps for the postcards, because we send out a gazillion of them, and that postage really starts to add up. And I can, as soon as I find it, put the link in the chat if anybody is interested in donating. It would be great.
I put the link in the update that I shared as well.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
All right, good. Well, it's great for you to check in and definitely chime in with any. Do you have any updates about the statewide campaign that we should know about, or are we ready to reveal any more? Or?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. So, the good news is Jabri is here from the DNC, so I'll let him. I'll make him a co-host. And Jabri, I don't know if you had anything that you wanted to share in terms of.
Hey folks, I'm so terribly sorry. I was having trouble getting in, and I'm on my phone, my work phone, which doesn't allow me to use my camera. So I'm so terribly sorry. But I wanted to stop by firstly to say thanks for all the work you folks are doing across the state of Virginia to make sure that we are protecting and saving democracy every way we can. My role here at the DNC, I'm the National Community Organizing Manager, which means we are leading a new program where we will be taking the power and giving it directly back to people, allowing the platform that we have to be shared with the community, because that's the way it should be. Realistically, all politics are local, and making sure that we give the community a space and active voice to use our platform to tell us directly what we should be investing, what we should be investing in. Of course, we can use pollsters and do all the cool things that our platform and the funding allows us to do. But the real things we want to do when it comes to politics is make sure that people are heard every single day, that you folks are knowing what we are doing every day to make sure that we are winning for working families, whether that is systematically uplifting 11 million families directly out of poverty, helping 66 million children directly when money is in the pockets of working families because of the Biden child tax credit or the groundbreaking infrastructure bill that was just passed, or the cool things that are all throughout the ARP. But I don't want to take too much of folks' time on that because I definitely want to open up space for questions. But before I leave today, I would be a horrible organizer if I didn't invite you folks out to either attend a community organizing training. And for the folks who've been doing this work already, you don't need a training. You can probably tell me some cool new things to do. The way that community organizing works, it's supposed to be imaginative. You use all the tools that you have in your toolbox to make sure that your community is heard in the most authentic ways, because you know your community better than anyone here. You are the expert in that space, and we should respect that. But if that's you, you're already the expert. You're already doing your community organizing. I invite you to vote in and with some of our events, host an event with us. Share this information. Make sure we are telling all the good news about vaccines. Making sure we're telling all the good news about the work that's being done on behalf of folks and why we need to elect Democrats up and down the ballot. Why we need to protect our majorities and try our best to pick up Senate seats all over the country, and the work that we can be doing in our communities to support that. But I'm going to kick it back to you folks. Open up for any questions I may be able to ask. Kick it back to I'm assuming Jim or any one of the other co-hosts.
Yeah. Jabri, did you? I know you had some information about Biden's agenda and accomplishments so far. I actually have some of that stuff. I've seen some fact sheets from the White House website and stuff, but and I guess maybe the DNC has some stuff, but
yeah, I can rally off just a few top lines here that I think will be really cool to talk about when it comes to Virginia and just our American Rescue Plan. So the effects the American Rescue Plan has had on Virginia is crazy. We've sent $4.4 billion of state fiscal relief, $2.9 million into local municipalities directly from the American Rescue Plan. We spent $2.1 billion in K through 12 relief, making sure that schools can open up safely. The economic impact of the up to $1,400 per person, and above the $600 already provided in December, for more than 5 million adults and 1.8 million children. This is 82% of all the adults in the state, 81% of all the children in the state received that funding to make sure that they were uplifted and they received the economic payment. Additional $1,600 per child through the child tax credit. 1.5, close to 1.6 million Virginians will be lifted out of with families will be helped, and 85,000 children will be lifted out of poverty. Additional relief up to $1,000 of the earned income tax credit to 419,000 childless workers. So we're talking about the Biden child tax credit. If you folks are like me, I don't have kids. I don't receive the Biden child tax credit, even if I wanted to. But the earned income tax credit was extended, was added, was given higher number under Biden's administration. Excuse me, it's a little late in the day. Marketplace health insurance premiums that are $1,500 on the lower end per month in the state, lowering that down $1,500 lower than it was before for 6-year-old couples earning $75,000 per year or less. So wins all throughout Virginia, especially when it comes to American Rescue Plan. We can go on and on about numbers, but we all know numbers are just simply numbers. The stories that come, that's the quantitative piece. So the qualitative piece, if you go talk to a family of 5, just like my sister, with kids all under the age of 6, that amount of income entering the household changes the game and allows you to start planning for different things, allows families to really start making financial plans for the future, allows to start saving for homes, allows you to start paying some of that student loan debt off, allows you to breathe a little easier at night when you have those tough conversations. Another cool thing, I'm a housing person, I'm a social worker by trade. and an estimated 267,000 renters, or 14% of the renters in the state of Virginia before we first produced a report, were not caught up on rent. And of those 267,000 folks, a large number of them were families with children. So that direct relief came in and will help us try to ride this wave of what we see of tumultuous housing displacement across the state and really across the nation due to this gruesome pandemic that's still looming very clearly. Another big thing, when Biden took office, we invested directly into making sure the vaccine was ready to be produced at mass, funding it to where it's supposed to be. We are in a safer place because more people are vaccinated. And if more people were vaccinated, we wouldn't probably be having this Delta variant conversation. So making sure that we are in a space where folks are comfortable enough to talk in authentic spaces about all the cool wins that's happening, but also about how to keep each other safe and why we need to keep each other safe. So hopefully that answers some questions. I hate to be a wonk real quick and just give you some hard facts and some hard numbers. But I'll guarantee you, if you pick up your phone right now and text about 5 of your friends, and that 5 of your friends with kids, and ask them how that Biden child tax credit has changed the game for them. It's changed the way they think about their domestic, their home, their day-to-day like budgeting.
Oh, did I lose him? I think we lost him somehow. Huh. All right. Someone got kicked off. All right. All right. Well, while we wait for him to come back, which hopefully he'll make it back. Elizabeth, do you want to share your slides about the importance of the state race?
Absolutely. So my name is Elizabeth Mitchell. I'm here in DC, and my day job is actually with a group called Future Now Fund that purely focuses on state legislative races, tipping the balance of power to improve lives for people over special interests. But the way I got into this was for the past 4 years, I've been working with the DC Dems in a group that we call DC Blue Wave. And can you all see my screen? Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So after Trump was elected, a couple of us got together and realized we're in a blue area and we should be focusing on state legislative races. Why? It's cheaper. It's way cheaper to flip an entire state chamber than to win a single competitive congressional seat. State legislative campaigns cost less than 10% of what a congressional campaign costs. John Ossoff was one of the elections that happened right after Trump won. He raised $23 million, which is at the time was more than anyone had ever raised for a congressional campaign, and he still lost. If you had taken that $23 million and spread it around Georgia, you could have easily flipped the state house. Stacey Abrams would have gone on to become governor, and you would not be facing any of the voter suppression laws that we're seeing right now. Biggest impact, when you work for the candidates at the bottom of the ballot, you build a victory from the bottom up. Democratic voters will vote up, but we will not always vote down. That is, one of the things we just saw in 2020 was that a lot of candidates rode Trump's red wave into power. We did not have that same ballot building from the bottom up. We have a lot of candidates that talk about how the closer to your front door, the further down the ballot, and Democrats just aren't getting that messaging, which is really unfortunate. We don't have the same sort of kind of tribalism that the other side does, and we really need to work on that. So it's less expensive. We're also, they have less resources when you're running for office for the first time. And we're up against kind of bigger war chests and things like that, and more infrastructure on the other side. Okay, no. Sorry. Oops, there we go. Okay, so 5 reasons why state elections matter. Gerrymandering. State houses decide what voting districts looks like. Voter suppression. We're seeing a ton of this right now. literally hundreds of bills have been introduced just in this past year with the exact intent to suppress votes. The GOP is literally trying to pick their voters. I don't know if anyone else saw this article. Really interesting. It's a New Yorker article about the big lie, and it's literally, it's a very long read, but it is absolutely fantastic, and it explains exactly what we're up against. This is a 40-year plan that has been executed to perfection, and we're now seeing it. Gerrymandering, we did that. Oh, so this is gerrymandering. I think most people understand why gerrymandering is so bad. You know, one of my favorite pins is actually Delegate Van Valkenburg's district, the toilet bowl district. Very similar to this. You know, Republicans are definitely just picking their voters. This is information about voter suppression, everything that's been going on across the country. And so the other reason are laws. These are, if you pick an issue, it is happening in state legislatures. So if you're worried about the environment, if you're worried about rights, if you're worried about LGBTQ rights, if you're worried about any issue, it is happening in state legislatures. And I think never more so than right now, we're seeing how that deeply impacts people living in different states and the differences that are happening there. And it's really remarkable and in a bad way. The judiciary, this is, you know, Brett Kavanaugh, this is kind of old news, but it's very much there. And it's coming to a head right now because we do not have the majority on the Supreme Court. One of the things that's come up recently is that there was an Arizona law where they just were this just happened in June. The decision came down that the Supreme Court basically has been eroding voting rights, right? We have the Voting Rights Act and they've been chipping away. The Supreme Court has chipped away at this a bit, which is why it's so important that we passed a new Voting Rights Act. The problem is they just signaled to every Republican state legislature that it's open season on voting laws. They can do whatever they want as long as it is not literally, meaning like it's not actually written to be racist. It doesn't matter if in practice it is racist. It doesn't matter if the GOP is totally honest about the fact that they need that to win. That's exactly what's happening in Arizona. The GOP did not hide the fact that the reason they're trying to pass these laws is because without voter suppression, without these laws, these incredibly restrictive laws, they cannot win elections. Supreme Court said they didn't care. It was up to the states. If they could pass it in the state legislature, then it was good to go. So that's why that's very upsetting. Also, down ballot races. We rebuild the bench. Leaders like Barack Obama, Stacey Abrams, Nikita Williams, so many more became as state lawmakers. Why is this so important? We want our future leaders to have excellent experience in state houses and senates. We want them to understand how laws work, how they impact people's lives. The only way they're going to do that is if they get elected, and then we want them to go on to further office. Nikita Williams is an amazing example of that. You know, even in Virginia, we've had so many new lawmakers. Hala Ayala was elected in 2017. If she hadn't won that election, she wouldn't be running for lieutenant governor right now. Okay. This is about what we've done. We worked, so I'm part of the DC Democratic State Committee. And as far as I know, we are the only Democratic state committee that's actually working in other states to do this work. Why is that? Because we're totally blue. We can do that. We also can absolutely do this work in off-year elections because we don't have any elections going on this year. So we've raised $50,000 for candidates in Alaska, Arizona, Florida, Iowa, Kansas, Maine, Michigan, Mississippi, Montana, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Wisconsin. We've increased political fluencies with our constituents in DC. We've recruited volunteers, we've sent postcards. We've recruited 50 state lawmakers to sign our Students for DC Statehood Pledge, and we've hosted a ton of events and we've canvassed a bunch. So Virginia, I think most of the people on this call understand why Virginia. We've been working in Virginia since 2017, and thousands of bills that are changing lives every day have been passed, which is really remarkable and incredible. Affordable health care, first state in the South to pass LGBTQ protections, abolish the death penalty, legalize weed. Virginia's passed its own Voting Rights Act. Virginia now went from being one of the most restrictive states in the nation for voting to being one of the most progressive. I think they have either the longest or close to the longest early voting window right now, which is why tomorrow we will be 30 days away from early voting. That is remarkable. 45 days of early voting. That's huge. And it's also increased voter turnout. 2020 early voting spiked. I think it was like 2.5 million voters took advantage of it, which was 5 times the amount of people that were able to do that in 2016, which is huge. So all of these reasons are why we need to, we've made all this progress, which is really incredible. So the next slides are the candidates that we're supporting. Deborah Gardner, who is an absolute beast on the doors. She's knocking on every door. Her district was one that was lost by the smallest margin. The previous candidate came within 1 point of flipping that district. So we really think it's possible now. She's doing the work, she's putting the effort in, but she needs help. She has a great saying, it's called dollars and doors. She needs dollars to stay on those doors. The number one way to get voters to turn out for an off-year election, because I canvassed with her 2 weekends ago, and I was still shocked that people in Virginia do not realize they have elections every year. So number one, they need to know that there are elections, but the number one way to get a voter to turn out, especially for a bottom of the ballot candidate like Deborah is to have the candidate at their door. If a voter meets a candidate, they are exponentially more likely to show up and vote. They will come up with a plan. They will actually be there. They will do all of these things. So when I say that we're building the victory from the bottom up, if I get someone to turn up for Deborah Gardner, they are extremely likely to vote up the entire ballot. They're going to show up for Deborah, but then they're going to vote for Hala. They're going to vote for everyone else who's above her on the ticket. And that's huge because these elections are decided by less than 100 votes often, these tipping point seats we're talking about. Delegate Cole is a great example. He won his seat, I want to say it was like 41. Well, I think he lost. He did not win his election in 2017 and he lost it by, I think, 41 votes. Katie Sponsor is also in a very competitive district. And then Vanal Norton is one of my favorites. She's running in District 100, which is Hampton Roads. This is what we're doing. I'll stop sharing my screen. I feel like I've just talked a lot and probably everybody's just, but that's what we're doing. We really believe strongly that this is where the Democratic Party should be doing their work, that we should be focused on tipping point seats in state legislatures. This is where the power is. This is where we need to be. This is where we can be most effective. We're just coming out of 2020 where people spent they literally had millions of dollars left over when their campaigns were done. I don't want to talk trash, but like Sarah Gideon in Maine, she had $13 million left over when she was done with her campaign and she lost. She gave that to charities, but that's $13 million that we left on the table. If you had taken that $13 million and spread it around the state of Maine, it could have done so much good. Maine is okay, but you look at other states, you look at Kentucky, you look at Georgia, especially Georgia. This last election cycle was billions of dollars. And I think what's really important to also remind yourself, that's billions of dollars being spent on an industry. It's not going to people. And it's not changing the balance of power in Georgia. Where are we with Georgia? We have 2 senators, right? That's wonderful, that's great. But if we don't pass this Voting Rights Act, where are the residents in Georgia? What is going on with their lives? They're looking at more voter suppression. They're not looking at better situations for their schools. They're not looking at real change in their personal lives. And that's a real tragedy in my opinion. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. So that's why we do this work, because if you donate $25 to these candidates, it'll actually make a difference. It'll keep people like Deborah Gardner on those doors, talking to voters, learning more about her future constituents and what they actually need from their local governments, which is also huge. And this is where the fight is. This is where we are stopping voter suppression. This is exactly where we are stopping disenfranchisement and everything else. Okay, I'll stop because that was a lot. Happy to take questions. We're canvassing, but the big thing that we're doing right now is really trying to raise as much money as possible for these candidates, because dollars and doors, we want to keep these candidates on the doors so that we turn out the vote. Because when these candidates turn out the vote, we are also turning out the vote for the governor, the lieutenant governor, and everybody else on the ticket, and that's essential.
All right, great. Thank you, Elizabeth. Jabri is back. So if anybody has questions specifically for Jabri, please provide them. He's got his video on. He's upgraded.
Yeah, I came back via my laptop. Thanks a lot, folks, for like holding on that space. Elizabeth, you brought up so many great points. I'm a social worker by trade. I formerly worked in Michigan State House. The most important thing is that we elect Democrats up and down the ballot. Your mayor, I can tell you this right now, your mayor has more power to change your life with the stroke of his or her pen than the president does right now in this moment. It's so important that we handle and we make sure that we're excited every time we have an election, because every election is an election of a lifetime. Because you never know, you can so your school board can take over, and next thing you know, they're teaching folks slavery was just all fun and games, and they actually liked it. I think Toni Morrison said if you are complicit and quiet about your pain, they'll write a story telling you that you liked it. So it is important that we make sure that we stand in the gap and make sure that we are in a space to protect our democracy up and down the ballot, because every office is important. So I thank you so much for that work that you are doing. You make some very valid points. But in my capacity here, what we want to do is make sure that so we can elect Democrats up and down the ballot, is give all the power and that speaking platform back to you folks in this community organizing model, and making sure that you folks know that this is a space created for you. So I'm going to open up for questions. I'm a chatty Cathy myself. I can go all day. So feel free, hop off mute. Got any questions, drop them in the chat. I also try to be tech savvy, and I clearly was not. I dropped some links in here for folks to like, if you want to host an event, there's a link there to make sure you host these conversations across the country with other folks in your likeness. If you want to join a community organizing training, please feel free to hop in. And we have them going every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. I'm on Twitter. Just started Twitter. Feel free to ask me questions and follow me there for more updates and stuff about the community organizing space. Feel free to call me and text me anytime. My number is provided there. And also, if you feel free to email me, I guarantee I'll get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. Ask Jim. I'll pick up the phone at any time. Just give me a call, shoot me a text. If you don't feel comfortable asking questions now, you got something for the end, or like it may pop up 2 days later, feel free to reach out to me.
All right, thank you for stopping by, and feel free to hang around. Let's see here. Does anybody else have any pertinent questions? I guess I might stop the recording if I do that, just so the video doesn't seem overwhelming to people. Thank you for everybody watching online. Stop this.